Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a sledgehammer to one of the biggest myths in professional life.
The myth that success is all about your technical skill, your pure brilliance.
Exactly. And our sources for this deep dive, they come from a classic text on human relations, one that argues these skills, these so-called soft skills, aren't just things you're born with.
Right. They're learnable. You can master them. Our whole mission here is to pull out the principles, the actionable methods that, can actually change how you interact with people.
We're treating human interaction not as some kind of mysterious art, but as an applied science.
And we're going to start with a number that should really make you stop and think.
It's a real hook. You might be an engineer, a doctor, a coder. You spend years and years mastering your craft. You think your financial success is, 90, 100% tied to that?
That's what everyone assumes. But that assumption was completely challenged by some really deep research.
Okay, where did this come from?
This was research from the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, and it was later confirmed by the Carnegie Institute of Technology.
And they were looking at success in technical fields, right? Like engineering.
Precisely. They wanted to know what the real drivers were, and the findings were just overwhelming.
So what was the number?
Only 15%, just 15% of a person's financial success comes from their technical knowledge.
Wow. Okay, that leaves a massive 85% chunk of the pie.
And that 85%, they called it skill in human engineering. Your personality, your ability to lead people, to deal with them.
That is just staggering to think about. Your actual job skill is only 15% of the formula.
And this isn't some new idea. I mean, John D. Rockefeller said it decades ago. He said, the ability to deal with people is as purchasable a commodity as sugar or coffee.
And he'd pay more for it than anything else.
More than any other ability. He knew where the real value was.
So if this skill is so valuable, you'd think people would be clamoring to learn it.
And they are. There was this big survey, a 2-year project by the University of Chicago and the YMCA schools. They just asked adults what they most wanted to study.
And the answer was?
Well, after health, which was number 1, the second biggest interest was learning how to understand people, how to get along with them, and how to influence them.
So we all kind of know intuitively that this 85% gap is there. We just need the tools to fill it.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, let's unpack those tools. Let's get right into the first major principle. If our interactions are that important, what's the biggest mistake we make? The biggest trap?
The source material is completely clear on this. The biggest trap is criticism.
Principle 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
And the reason for this, it's not really about being nice. It's functional. Criticism just doesn't work. It's ineffective.
Why not? I mean, sometimes people are just wrong.
Because of a simple psychological fact. The second you criticize someone, you put them on the defensive. Their pride is wounded.
So they stop listening to the feedback and just start building a wall.
A wall of justification. They're ready to defend themselves no matter how objectively wrong they might be.
And this holds true even in the most extreme cases.
Oh, absolutely. The psychologist B.F. Skinner showed that reward works way better than punishment. And you see it in these extreme examples of human self-justification. Take Two-Gun Crowley.
The notorious cop killer.
That's the one. He's cornered by police, a whole siege happening, and what does he do? He writes a letter.
A confession?
Not at all. He writes, under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one. A kind one.
Unbelievable.
And later, at Sing Sing, he said he was only in jail for defending myself.
So in his own mind, he's the victim.
Exactly. Or Al Capone, the most feared gangster of his time. He saw himself as a public benefactor. Warden Laws of Sing Sing even confirmed it. He said very few criminals there ever admit they're bad men. They rationalize everything.
That's the key insight, isn't it? If men who commit murder can't accept blame, how can you possibly expect your colleague to admit they messed up a spreadsheet just because you pointed it out?
You can't. The criticism achieves nothing. It just creates resentment.
We even see this at the highest levels of power.
For sure. Look at President Taft after that disastrous Republican defeat. Theodore Roosevelt blamed him publicly. But Taft just said, I don't see how I could have done any differently.
The criticism just reinforced his own narrative.
It always does. So the realization is that criticism always boomerangs back at you. Which brings us to Abraham Lincoln.
He learned this lesson the hard way.
Oh yeah. Early in his life, he wrote this letter ridiculing someone, and it nearly got him into a duel. It created an enemy for life. After that, he made a complete shift.
His mantra became, judge not that ye be not judged.
And you see him master this during the Civil War, after the Battle of Gettysburg.
Right. Lee's army was defeated, vulnerable. Lincoln ordered General Meade to attack to finish the war.
And Meade didn't. He hesitated. He let Lee's army slip away across the Potomac. Lincoln was, you can imagine he was absolutely furious.
That mistake probably prolonged the war by years.
It did. So Lincoln sits down and he writes this letter, a scathing, stinging rebuke of Meade's failure.
But
he never mailed it.
why not? He was completely in the right.
Because in that moment of rage, he thought it through. He realized sending it would accomplish nothing. It would only make Meade justify himself, resent Lincoln, maybe even resign.
So he saw that the criticism, even though it's deserved, was just futile.
It was an exercise in futility. It doesn't fix the past, it only poisons the future.
There's a more modern example of this too. The story of the test pilot, Bob Hoover.
An incredible story. His plane, a P-51, was completely ruined because a young mechanic filled it with the wrong fuel. Jet fuel instead of gasoline.
A catastrophic career-ending mistake for that mechanic.
And the mechanic knew it. He was crying, just waiting for this explosion of anger from Hoover.
Which would have been totally understandable.
Totally, but Hoover does the exact opposite. He walks over, puts his arm around the mechanic's shoulder, and says something just brilliant.
What did he say?
He said, "To show you I'm absolutely sure you'll never do this again, I want you to service my F-51 tomorrow."
Wow.
That is human engineering. He didn't just forgive him, he used the mistake to build unbreakable loyalty. Criticism would have destroyed that mechanic's career. Confidence made him better.
That's a perfect transition. If avoiding criticism is what you don't do, what's the positive action you should take?
Well, you have to address what everyone is fundamentally craving. It's the core psychological engine of human beings.
The philosopher John Dewey called it the desire to be important.
Right. And William James called it the craving to be appreciated. It's almost as deep as our need for food or sleep. It's what really separates us from animals.
And it fuels everything. It's what drives someone like Lincoln to become president or Dickens to write novels.
But when that craving is blocked or it isn't met, it can manifest in some really disturbing ways.
Like with John Dillinger, the bank robber.
Yeah. He was proud to shout, "I'm Dillinger." That notoriety, that twisted importance was what he craved. People will literally turn to crime or even retreat into insanity just to feel important.
So if you can provide that feeling, that recognition, in a healthy way.
The positive influence you can have is just immense. Which leads us right to principle 2.
Give honest and sincere appreciation.
This is the proactive tool. This is how you build people up and create influence. The steel magnate Charles Schwab was a master at this.
He was paid over $1 million a year, which is an insane amount of money back then.
And he always said it wasn't for his knowledge of steel, it was for his ability to handle people. His secret was being, in his words, hearty in my approbation and lavish in my praise.
Anxious to praise, but loath to find fault.
That was his entire philosophy. And on the flip side, a lack of appreciation is devastating. A study of runaway wives found the main reason they left wasn't abuse or money issues.
It was a lack of appreciation.
They just felt completely unseen, completely unimportant.
Okay, but there's a really important distinction here, right? This isn't about just empty flattery.
A critical distinction. Appreciation has to be sincere. It has to come from the heart out. Flattery is selfish, it's insincere, it's just from the teeth out.
And people can spot it a mile away.
Instantly. But real, true appreciation, that can change a person's life.
The story of Stevie Wonder is a perfect example of this.
It really is. A teacher asked him for help finding a lost classroom mouse, but she didn't do it out of pity for the blind boy in her class.
No, she did it because she genuinely recognized his unique gift. She said he had a remarkable pair of ears.
And Stevie Wonder himself said that moment, that sincere recognition of his skill, of his importance, that was the beginning of his new life.
That's incredibly powerful. Just one moment of true appreciation.
So once we get that people are driven by this need for importance, the next step is, well, how do you translate that into action? Into getting cooperation?
How do you get someone to do what you want them to do?
There's only one way, and this is principle 3. You have to make the other person want to do it.
It sounds so simple, but we violate this rule constantly. We're always talking about what we want.
All the time. The analogy in the book is about fishing. You don't bait a hook with strawberries and cream because you love strawberries and cream.
You use what the fish wants. You use worms.
You have to stop talking about your own needs and start looking at the world from their point of view. As Professor Overstreet said, first, arouse in the other person an eager want.
Let's talk about the practical application. The story about the hotel negotiation.
Perfect example. The organizer of these lectures was told the rent for his ballroom was going up by 300%.
A business-killing increase.
For sure. But he didn't go in complaining about his budget or how unfair it was.
He didn't talk about what he wanted.
Not at all. He focused entirely on the hotel manager's wants. He made a list. Advantages for the hotel, disadvantages for the hotel.
So what were the advantages for the hotel in keeping him?
The prestige, the free advertising of having all these cultured, influential people coming through their doors. The disadvantage was losing that business to a competitor and getting zero income from the ballroom.
So he framed it entirely in terms of the manager's self-interest.
Completely.
Yeah.
By appealing to the manager's eager want for profit and prestige, he got the rent increase dropped from 300% down to just 50%.
Without ever asking for it directly. He made the manager want to offer him a better deal.
That's the art of it. And you even see it work with kids.
Right, the story about the son who didn't want to go to kindergarten.
Exactly. Stan Novak and his wife. Instead of nagging or forcing their son Tim, they thought about what he wanted.
Which was to have fun.
So the parents started finger painting at the kitchen table, just the two of them, having the best time, talking about how amazing it was.
They made it an exclusive, exciting club.
And pretty soon, Tim was begging to join in, but they said, oh no, you can't. You have to go to kindergarten first to learn how.
They created an eager want.
The next morning, they found him asleep in a chair, fully dressed, ready for school so he wouldn't be late for finger painting class.
Incredible. So, to recap these three pillars of the 85%. First, avoid criticism because it just builds resentment.
Second, satisfy that deep human craving for importance with honest, sincere appreciation.
And third, to influence anyone, you have to stop focusing on your wants and start appealing to their eager wants.
That's the foundation. But these principles only work if you practice them continuously.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, a way to put this into practice. It's a system modeled by a successful Wall Street bank president.
This was a man with very little formal schooling, but he credited his success to this one homemade system.
Every Saturday evening, he would take out his engagement book and just review his week, a period of self-examination.
He would ask himself three powerful questions. First, what mistakes did I make that time?
Second, what did I do that was right, and how could I have improved my performance?
And finally, the most important one, what lessons can I learn from that experience?
He said that this system of self-analysis, of self-education, year after year, did more for him than anything else.
It's how you turn these ideas from just concepts into actual ingrained skills. Mastery comes from self-review.
So give yourself that Saturday night audit. You might find an 85% skill set starts to grow, well, exponentially.
We'll see you next time for the deep dive.